Clown in the Dumps has a really great voice cast. It's quite sentimental. It's relatively interesting. This is the first episode of the 26th season of The Simpsons, directed by Stephen Dean Moore, and this focuses, of course, on Krusty. And there is a roast of Krusty, and Krusty doesn't like people making fun of him. Even though he knows what a roast is, he wasn't prepared for all of this harsh criticism and commentary. And then he goes to see his father to ask what his father thinks of him. And things don't go according to Krusty's plans, but maybe not in the way one might expect. But I don't want to say any more than that without giving anything away. But it's about Krusty looking back on his career, on the fact that he's had the same comedy for a long time, looking at how other people perceive him, but also realising that he really needs his father's approval, his father's praise. And I think that that's something that most of us need, even if we don't admit it, maybe even if we don't even know it. I think most of us would, at least internally, crave our parents' approval. And with Krusty's line of work, the nature of his jokes, and given the fact that his father is a rabbi and obviously wanted a very different career for Krusty, that's not necessarily something Krusty has grown up with. As we know, this is something that's been touched on before, but this has a much more emotional look at Krusty, his approaches to life, what his career means to him, what it might mean to other people. And I really like the role Bart played in this. I won't say what Bart contributes to it, but I really enjoyed ultimately what Bart brought to it. So it maybe wasn't the funniest episode, but I think that's okay. Not every episode of The Simpsons is going to be as relaxing as others. It's nice to have one that hits a little bit harder every now and then. And I found it to be really moving, and I kind of really believed Krusty's emotions and believed his actions. Everything made a lot of sense, and I thought it was a really enjoyable, well-crafted episode. But, as I said, the reason it's kind of just okay is that I feel like it kind of didn't sustain my attention fully. It started off okay, and then it slowed down and picked up, slowed down again, and then ultimately I was left feeling quite satisfied with the way the episode went. So it didn't fully sustain my attention as much as some episodes can, all of the way through. I can't pinpoint exactly why, because it's not like the narrative slowed down or the emotions changed. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I needed a little bit more comic relief or something else. We do have a sub-narrative where Lisa is terrified of Homer dying, basically, and she begins to try and protect him in all kinds of ways. And I don't think that narrative really reached its full potential. The bubble wrap I loved. I thought it was fabulously animated, very entertainingly done. But I think, honestly, that could have been the main focus. Not in this episode. It was right to have Krusty at the centre of this, but I feel like the Lisa and Homer narrative would have been better written and better developed if it had been the main narrative of a different episode. And I feel like it kind of just scratched the surface here, and I was left wanting more. Which I guess is a good thing, because it means I enjoyed what we got and I want to see what else they could do with it. But it also does kind of enhance the main narrative with the whole father-child relationship and the different ways that children need their parents, but parents can also be protected by their children. And it really looks at different kinds of father-child relationships. So it's not a bad episode. I just feel like it wasn't as interesting as it could have been the entire time. But when it was good, it was really good. So I'd say maybe it was slightly better than okay. I'd say it was pretty good, but not perfect. But still, it was sentimental, it was moving. Generally not too bad. Quite surprised to see it's only got 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb. That's across 1.4 thousand reviews and ratings, which is not incredible for The Simpsons, and I don't think it is. I don't rate it as poor as that. I rate it quite a bit higher. I don't know. I don't give star ratings, but if I had to, I'd say 6.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Not my favourite. Definitely room for improvement, but I wouldn't mind watching it again as long as I'm not in the mood for something light-hearted and fluffy. If I was wanting something that was maybe a little bit harder hitting, Clown in the Dumps wouldn't be a bad one to go with.